Yep.
Ah, there's another one that's faster than me. Well,
Whoa!
Airborne.
Rotated.
This is. I go to the right then, but no, left hand. Let's go left hand.
What a sight watching everyone take off. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Wow. 5,000 feet, you'll done roughly 30 or 40. Oh, wow.
Everyone in the first batch disappeared.
Oh my goodness.
I did notice that. I did notice some folks disappearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiplayer since XU5 has been messed up.
Is that Drew I can hear?
So I have to take a right then?
You're going to hear it stop this day.
Full throttle brake release. Here we go.
Somebody give a heading flag so I don't have to fly down.
0, 0.
Good.
Yeah.
What are you going to be using as a cruising mode, guys? 3,500, I think, is on the plan.
Okay, thank you.
I need to turn my butt kicker down the tight turns there, giving me some entertainment.
It's that corkscrew.
This is amazing.
We need to do this more often.
Yeah, it's right next to Fish, we'll take them over New Zealand.
Yeah.
We'll take it over New Zealand.
Yeah, the scenery is absolutely beautiful over New Zealand.
Looks like we've lost one. A bit muggy up here.
Yeah, we're right at the bases
Yeah,
for
well.
scattered.
Welcome to the UK.
Steve, are you running live weather or?
No. I put scatter cloud.
Okay, great, thanks.
Twice I'm doing it, and that's accurate.
I'm going towards the bridge and do my Sparky move.
Okay. Yeah.
Vaccinated.
Glad to hear it. Yeah, I'm currently flying, I think, at the front formation right now. I'm not sure how I managed that. But, I'm currently fitted with the drop tanks, which is one of the new features that will be coming in version 1.1. So I saw quite a few people wanting to fly this aircraft longer distance. Although the RAF or T1s never plumbed in with the drop tanks, the export ones, like maybe the Finnish ones, were. So it's not entirely unrealistic, and it gives you a significant amount more range as well.
Because it's a thirsty jet, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But each drop tank is, I think, 100 imperial gallons, so it's pretty tough.
Right, weren't you?
The only issue I get with the plane is a little bit sort of difficult to trim out, you know, in terms of like to do level flight, you know, without cheating to use the autopilot.
Is there any sort of like updates on that? Do you know, in terms of does anybody else find that there's a bit of it's a bit finicky getting it to level out?
There will be various flight dynamics.
I'm using my Honeycomb Bravo trim wheel, and I do have to scroll a lot before it starts, but that's with every plane, not just this one.
Yeah, I'm just using the HOTAN and the Thrustmaster, but just one little tap seems to kind of like, it's always either over-correcting or under-correcting, and it's just always kind of like balancing it out, but it might well be me that's more of the issue. But
I mean, we involved a couple of real autopilots in the testing, but it's always a compromise. The challenge, I think, with this especially is because it's quite a high-speed jet. Trying to get the trim behaviour at low speed and high speed is quite a challenge with the sim as it is at the moment. So that can be a bit of a cause. But yeah, we'll certainly continue tweaking the flight dynamics with the help of our real autopilots. But yeah, there's always an element of compromise, unfortunately.
No, it wasn't a criticism. It's just I was wondering if there was a secret to it in terms of.
I don't think so. It sounds like using it correctly. I mean, I've got a Thrustmaster called Airbus stick. I have a couple of buttons on that side to trim, and it works sort of okay for me. But small pitch changes, the airspeeds we're flying at here, can equate to quite large VSI swings. So yeah, it certainly can be a bit of a challenge. The other thing to make use of course, is the autopilot. So if you engage that without any other mode engaged, it's pitch and bank hold, and I find that's quite useful, especially for sort of VFR flights. You can quickly engage that, take your hands off, and it'll sort of, much like an Airbus, sort of trim for pitch and bank. That's quite handy.
I really do like actually how you've added the autopilot feature, because it's probably a bit of a cause for controversy in for some people, but I think actually it's a really good concession for the sim, particularly if you want to use it, for sort of more longer flights. I think it works really well actually.
Yeah, we always
mirrors work.
Second. We always
Can anyone tell me?
Compromise it, because the key thing for us is we're not going to put a switch in the actual virtual cockpit that's not in the real aircraft. Physical.
Yes,
now GPS not there. But in terms of EFB options, ultimately you can ignore it. You can turn it off. So I don't really feel like it's too much compromise on realism in that regard. And I think the most simmers at some point or another will make use of that autopilot feature. I certainly do when it comes to testing. Very useful.
It's one thing I do wonder, because obviously the Red Arrows, they do a lot of transits, particularly when they went to America and all around the world. They obviously don't have an autopilot, I presume they don't, and they fly in formation a lot of the time as well, in like a loose formation. I can imagine
a loose formation,
being
actually,
very
that's
tiring.
isn't it, as well?
They also don't have drop tanks, so I think I read somewhere that on a trip to the Middle East, it's something like or to Asia, it's about 35 stops on the way.
That's a lot.
Wow.
Amazing.
You think if the RAF had paid to get the drop tanks plumbed in, like the extra ones, that would have saved them a lot of stops, but it's always the way, unfortunately. It's,
money. It's all down to money, isn't it? I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you notice that in the back, the back seat instructor would have his own UHF or VHF radio, and various things like that, because it was sort of the RAF one done very much on budget, whereas a lot of the export ones will have more fully functional rear cockpit as well. So yeah, there's lots of features like that, but of course it's primarily designed as a trainer in the UK, so you don't really need a lot of that stuff in there.
I might actually use the autopilot now, so I can get some good views of you guys, and use nav mode actually. So yeah, there you are.
Are you full throttle, Steve?
No, actually, I'm about to.
No.
I was about to say, in terms of speed, I was going to be around 350, 400 knots for the time being, because you want to just obviously conserve fuel, because like you say, you should just drink a bit. But I'm currently heading to our next stop, which should be Blackpool, although my flight plan is being a bit dodgy. It's not always showing on the screen, but I know roughly where I'm about supposed to be.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
Yeah,
I'm following you
here.
Basically, I mean, I can call out waypoints if that's easier, and you can use the GPS. I'm heading to Echo Golf November Hotel next, and then following the coast round to Blackpool Tower. That's where I'm going next. But I reckon I might
I'll be back in a bit. Thanks, Papa. Close the door.
Yeah, once in the mountains, it's a natural way of going through the valley. Eh?
Yeah, we're heading to to Lake Windermere, and we'll head to sort of Thirlmere and then over to Ullswater, and we'll have a bit of a play in those hills because they're absolutely beautiful.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
It's kind of stomping ground for the Hawks. In fact, I remember once, not long ago, me and Melissa, we were sat next to this lake in somewhere in Lake District, I can't remember where it was now, and we saw two Hawks, T1 Hawks from Moray Valley, just scoot really low down and went right up. It was just an amazing moment, and you often see them around those parts. So I thought it'd be quite an apt place to bring the Just Flight version. I've no idea how many people. It seems we've got loads of people on this stream. It's great to see everybody. Just in fact, how many people are flying the Hawk? I did see a lot.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to count from the back. I'll let you know what I come up with.
You need to slow down, Steve, so you can see what's going on.
Am I the one in the front here? I think I am, aren't I? Am I going
Yeah.
too fast?
You're going too fast. You're on
Always
Yeah.
these clouds.
I think I'm
yeah,
also
right.
most in the front.
Yeah, you've just shown up, Steve, in front with Sim Pilot.
Roger that.
Yeah.
Well,
So
to
there's
my
20
sort of 1 o'clock, that's Liverpool. And then I'm just going to head up the coast to Blackpool, which is actually, Asobe did a really good job of that point of interest. Once I get there, I'll just circle that area and kind of wait.
Oh,
for
there
guys to
you
catch
are.
up.
I counted
You don't-
20 back here, but I don't think I can see the other half of the
I'm
group.
only
Wow,
about
that's
3
amazing.
to
10 knots
That's
in.
fantastic.
You better.
Well, the limit is 50, yeah?
He might think he's in France when he
I'm
sees the
doing something
Blackpool
wrong. I'm
Tower.
only at 310 and I can't. I'm not gonna
Okay, Steve, I'm on your sticks.
Are you? Where?
Ah, now you disappeared.
Oh, no.
Up high.
Oh. Can't see you now. Unless
Yeah,
I can't see you because you're
that
that close
happens.
to me, knowing you. I know what you're like.
Can I cast a shadow with the Hawk? I don't know.
Yes, that, you know, I'll never forget that. When the Just Flight Turbo Arrow was first released, we did a community flight, and Sven was in formation with me, and he blocked the sun, and my cockpit, and I was in VR at the time, went all dark with the shadow, and it made me jump. It actually made me jump. That was amazing.
Nice.
See you again.
How many people are
Can
flying
anyone-
in VR here? Because
Yep.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
I've just come out of
Yeah.
Not very good. VR and got into 2D mode.
I think I'm on your 6th with F-14.
F-14.
Is that you, Willie?
Oh, that's the fastest one of the bunch.
Wow.
All right, Willie. I'm gonna form up on you, Willie. I'm right behind you.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Going upriver, right?
350 knots. Yeah, basically following this coast.
Just clock the Blackpool Tower.
I'm banking
Yeah.
left, going around, going back up.
Willie,
Does
question,
anyone-
are your wings open or closed on the 14?
They will close automatically at higher speed. Am I? I should be open now. I'm only pushing, yeah, like 380 on the
Okay,
turn,
yeah, no.
357.
Cool, yeah, that's what I see. Awesome.
So Martin, I was going to ask, you know, how do you even go about, you know, you have a sort of conversation, think, right, we want to make a Hawk. Then what happens after that? You know, it must be such a complex process, and knowing how to formulate the ideas even before you put pen to paper, you know, or in this case maybe pointer onto screen to start creating this thing. You know, how do you go about it?
The first step is getting a research trip in place, ideally to see the real aircraft. So we went down to Boscombe Down to see the Hawk. Went to Norfolk to see the 146, and again before lockdown I flew over to the museum at Toulouse to see the A300. So we'll travel kind of within Europe and try and find a real aircraft. The Fokker F-28, we went to the Fokker Technical College in the Netherlands to see the real one there.
Hey, Papa.
So that's the
You
key
ate too many
part.
snacks?
For our in-house aircraft, we usually kind of set that as a requirement, getting access to the real thing. And that allows us then obviously to get a huge amount of photos and audio recordings. And that's the kind of starting point. And the modelling, the visuals are the first job. So my colleague Mark will spend up to 18 months doing all the visuals.
How long? 18 months.
Yeah, so the 146 would take months, and partway through that, then I'll jump in and start doing the systems code. Sounds and flight dynamics guys will get involved.
You see, this is great to hear because I don't think people appreciate how long it takes to create something like this, and this is just really interesting to know. Sort of in terms of timescales as well. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realise.
Yes, it's a lot of work. Yeah, I mean the kind of accuracy that people expect now is, you can see sort of aircraft is kind of a one-to-one, the real thing. And systems-wise, again for our in-house aircraft, I'll sit down with the real manual in the case of this and just code it exactly as per the manual. Very, very rarely now do we have something we can't simulate. It's kind of opening maintenance hatches, things like that. But apart from that, everything we can do. So very much as per the manual.
Fantastic.
So again, that reference material is also critical. The real manuals, the real performance information, and of course pilots and engineers getting involved. So like, I don't know if you know Tim Davies' Fast Jet Performance, he's
Dropping truth bombs.
He's had input on
Yes.
this project.
Sorry, I didn't nearly crash then. I had to try to do a leap, and if I'm honest, he was listening to you.
He must be a character to work with.
Yes, he's brilliant. He obviously being a instructor. I mean, has he had any influence on this hawk at all, or has he ever helped you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was involved. He gave some input on the original P3D1 X-plane and this. And I think the other guy, I think his name is CG Aviator, is he? Who's done like the aerobatic tutorial and a few of the tutorials on YouTube. He's also contributed. And engineers, so not just pilots. So my dad, for example, was a RAF Hawk engineer in his early years of his career. So yeah, he's also contributed, which is very useful.
Excellent.
My flight plan reappeared, so I'm happy.
Yeah, mine's just done the same. I don't know what that
Yeah,
was.
it's appeared.
mine too.
I did a loop, almost crashed into the sea, and then my flight plan's back. So there you are.
Does anyone know why you get sirens when you idle the throttles?
No,
You hear that? What be doing, if depending on, make sure you haven't got anything assigned to the APU, because I know some people with their throttle assignment, when they bring it back to idle, it's triggering the start relight button on the throttle, and that then takes the generator offline automatically. So if you have a look at your CWP panel, when you get the alarm, just check if you're getting the electrical warning lights, generator and AC.
Yep, all of those are on.
Yeah, so that's the generator being tripped offline. So that should only happen if the start relight button's been pressed. That can be signed for you. Just check you haven't got that signed somewhere. So it shouldn't be doing it normally. But yeah, that actual functionality is as per the real aircraft. If you hit the start relight button in the real thing when you're in the when you're airborne, the engine-driven DC generator will trip offline, and you have to reset it using the DC reset button.
Cool, thanks.
Just another one of those strange quirks of the aircraft.
And it's all modelled in this, and that's what I love.
Yeah, no, it's good fun doing the quirks, although it does catch people out, including developers and testers. GTS system and making sure you got the engine start master in the back turned on. Yeah.
What's the prerequisite for smoke?
Say again, sorry?
What's the prerequisite for smoke to work?
So you have to have the red arrows variant enabled on the EFB, and then you should have a smoke master switch on the left instrument panel. You switch that on, and then you can either use the red, white and blue indicator lights and the combing, or you can actually use joystick controls as well to enable each of the colours. That should come on then.
Got it, thanks. It was the FB red arrows config. Thank you.
Yeah, because that's that enables the smoke, the diesel tank on the belly.
Just to let you know,
Yeah,
we're coming up to Lake Windermere, which is, I think, the largest or longest lake, I think, in England.
I'm over it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go nice and low and do a bit of a fly past with some smoke on. It's got to be done.
But we don't see each other smoke though, do we?
Yes, I can see smoke.
Ah, yourself, but not the other ones who had it on.
Be fair
So at the
though,
moment, you should, if you turn on your smoke, you should see everyone else with smoke. That's one of the limitations in the multiplayer.
Yeah,
we're
that's
trying to find a way
awesome.
around that, but it shares various settings between all the aircraft, which is a shame. But we're working with Zobo to try and see if we can get around that.
I'd settle for being able to see all the other planes.
I know.
Well,
Yeah, they disappear all the time.
I think a lot of that, it depends on...
I think there's two groups.
Yeah, go on, Chase.
Wait, so your bandwidth and all that business.
Yeah, no, but groups are limited to 6 because I fly Thunderbird's team and we've had to abandon flight sim for DCS for the last 3 months.
All right.
We used to
Definitely got worse.
at wingtip, and now we
nice.
can't even see each other half the time.
Are you like part of the Thunderbirds like virtual display team then, are you?
Yeah, but it doesn't work since SU5, so
It's a shame. Anyone
We're
who can
hoping
do
for
virtual
that to fix
displays
it.
is just, I find that absolutely like the Red Arrows virtual display team, they're just amazing,
Yeah.
aren't they? How on earth can you fly like that? You know, it must take the same skills, you know, as
It
flying
must be
around
almost
like-
harder.
I think so,
Really
absolutely.
yeah.
I think VR makes it a lot easier. I think most of them fly in VR now because obviously you get that situational awareness, but still, very difficult, very difficult. Oh,
And I
beautiful.
think any VFR flying in flight sim is harder in real life in my experience when I've got PPL. And flying out A28s or 152 in flight sim is harder than real life in many ways, I think.
Yes, definitely. So you're a PPL holder as well then?
Yeah, so I started learning when I was about 18 or 19, I think. Yeah, it's good
All right,
fun. A bit too expensive compared to
everybody's gone. I'm
everyone keeps
entering the
disappearing.
lake now, I think. The
Yeah.
approach end over here, low level.
Yeah, you're in
I
F22.
passed it already, I'm coming back.
I'll keep my smoke on. I think I'm the leader at the moment. I didn't mean to do that. Oh no, hang on, someone's gone past me.
No, I passed the lake already, I'm coming back.
Yeah, there's like 20 of us back here, and there's like, I think like 10 or 15 up there.
Well, there's a very famous ridge called
Oh, wow.
Halvelin,
They just came into appearance.
and I might just go, basically that's where this
That's
kind of
you,
flight
guy.
line goes and then heads back round in itself. So I'm just going to head into this valley here before heading back round.
Striding edge.
Yeah.
Striding
I'm
edge.
coming head
that's
to
the
head.
one. I nearly fell off Striding Edge when I was about 15. So yeah, that one. Very close.
Patrice,
Oh,
You
look
see,
at the
mate?
scenery here. Amazing scenery.
how we text Steve?
Ah, this is
Say again, sorry, missed it.
I said,
He's
that's
telling me
not
to
the guy in
overtake
front of you, Steve.
Are you?
Okay,
I've got some amazing.
I'm back into the group.
It's called the desk.
Oh, Sven, what happened? You crashed.
No, I came back because I'm too fast.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
It's really
Oh,
bizarre for me
brilliant.
because I haven't got the Hawk yet. Everybody's just flying around in commercial jets.
Yeah, you.
Showing us, you know, A20s and that sort of
Wow.
thing. So, I am behind Smithy 1238, and I see Sim Pilot 320 on the climb vertical.
Oof.
So this is the Lake District. Beautiful place. Recommend if you've never been here. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is lovely.
and now yeah,
Spend every weekend sailing on that lake as a young man.
Nice.
and I have to take a hard right.
Yeah, hard right. I'm just prolonging that a bit, but
Skid
yeah.
all straight
I,
ahead, folks.
but I should go around the mountain. It's the same. It's nicer.
Yeah, I agree. Sven,
Oh, you
you've
went
done
over
this
the
route
hill.
about 10 times already, haven't you?
No, once with the flight plan, 10 times with.
Roger that. I was going to
I
say,
don't know where
Martin,
the-
Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know where the route is. Am I following you, Steve? I see you turning now.
Yeah, he's doing the right route.
Yeah, we're just about
Perfect.
to kind of go over Ullswater, which is another beautiful area. I'd recommend visiting. And then we're going to start heading
Back.
south again. Yeah, basically to sort of over Yorkshire Moors, a little bit of that, and then heading over the Lady Bower Reservoir.
You're going to Bradford?
Tell you what, it's just as well I got the damage turned off on this Learjet. It would have blown up ages ago.
I was going to ask actually, the guy in the Learjet, how are you getting on?
I'm alright. I'm sneaking along and it's popping up to 400. Sorry, the
400,
citation.
that's not
The
bad.
citation.
That's not bad.
But it's in the red. I'm sure in the real world it would have blown up by now. It's the only way I'm going to keep up with you guys.
Yeah, she's a fast little bird.
The hug. Is that, Martin, is that something that will be fixed if you do crash the hug? All systems are off, the electronics and hydraulics are finished. Yeah, we have to restart.
You have to go home.
Yeah.
Just to say, Paul said in the chat. Paul said in the chat, thank you so much for this amazing aircraft, truly up to a new standard that we expect from Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I think we can all sort of appreciate what they've done here with this.
I'm going to be getting mine the beginning of, well, next week when I get paid.
Well, you convinced me to pick it up, so done deal.
Yeah.
Actually, Sven, it should be if you crash it, you've got to buy it again.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and I get,
Everyone's going to be really careful.
and I get a €2 discount because I bought the first one. That's nice.
We are tempted to do that. That's a step too far.
Well, it's when
Quite interesting to see that I'm actually struggling to keep up with you guys because I've got the drop tanks fitted and obviously I've got the extra weight.
Yeah, I've got the. I noticed. Is that something new for the version 1.1, Martin? That I feel like I'm a bit slower than I normally am with the drop.
So if you've got drop tanks, then yes, because you'll have the extra weight. So
Excellent.
the
Oh, you're flying the new one already?
yes.
I am. Yeah. So testing.
Ah, cheating.
Yeah, I was testing out. So I was doing a few. I've been flying in the Pimax all morning. Funny enough, over RF Valley testing the 1.1 out, and yeah, it should be out soon. I think, Martin. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's doing a few more bits. And the thing we do as well is we stimulate, it's like with the drop tanks, it's the weight of the actual pylon, the weight of the drop tank itself, and the weight of the fuel it carries. So you add all those up, and you can see the weight difference in the FB, and that all adds to the takes away from performance. So yeah, every missile or bomb you carry comes with a kind of weight penalty as to the pylons.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing for something you can use at home. What is this? This must be what, like it was for commercial pilots 5 years ago, 4 years ago. You know, obviously you haven't got the motion sensors that you have in the commercial flight simulators, but the actual view.
probably not even. Yeah, I think the views on commercial sims aren't often that great, are they? They don't
It's
really.
more going through the process, isn't it? I think. Bloody amazing. As I say, I only got my G2 last week, and it's just blown me away, actually.
Okay, for the ones who check your fuel now, because I already had to add some more, and I was full.
Hold on. I don't know where the fuel gauge is, so I'm gonna have to just pull up my menu.
I don't see any refueling planes in the sky, so.
Hey, Phil, I was about to ask Phil as well, because Phil's here from Authenticate. I'm sure you've heard me mention him a few times on the channel, and I think are you flying with your Spitfire? Yeah, control. I always say yoke. Fighter stick.
I am. Yeah.
How's it getting? How
I'm
you getting on
doing-
with it?
It's
Still in
going
the air,
all
then?
right. Yeah, I've spent more time building stuff than flying though.
Yes, I
I've
know
already
you
had
do.
to quit and respawn over Windermere because I was doing a pretty dreadful job of keeping up. But, I'm getting there. I'm trying to just get alongside somebody because the idea of just flying right next to another hawk would be. I haven't managed this yet, but I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I did
keep
that
chasing
this
people and
morning.
then they discover that they're like a 737 doing loony manoeuvres.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. That motorway, is that the M6?
It is, absolutely.
That's the M6, isn't it? Yeah.
It is indeed.
Well, it's been a while since I've been up there.
Yeah, actually, the M6, there's part of the M6 that weirdly is quite enjoyable to ride because it kind of goes it's quite snaky around the. I can't think where it is now. Is that more sort of near Gretna Green? I think.
No, we're not as far up as that, I don't think.
No, I don't mean here, but I mean a bit further up. But,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
South of Gretna
For a
Green,
motorway, it's that part anyways, all right. The rest of it's awful.
Yeah.
Some of these videos that people are knocking out nowadays, they actually look like proper documentary. At the moment.
What you mean, like
Martin,
some of these YouTubers? Yeah, I mean, like, amazing quality, absolutely.
You don't. Sometimes you don't realise you're not looking at the real thing.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
So Steve, which VR headset are you in?
I'm in 2D mode actually at the moment because I decided.
What?
I know. I feel like
Wash
such a
yourself
fake.
out.
I've just
The Montreal Flighting guy.
No, honestly.
He's having to host, and I can only imagine it's easier that way, right?
Yeah, well, this is the first time I've done a live stream and not been in VR. Usually I use the Reverb G2 with that Windows Mixed Reality kind of portal as a way of looking in the chat and that kind of thing. But for this one, I thought I haven't done a live stream for a while. I thought I'm just going to keep things a little bit simpler, one less thing to go wrong. But I must admit, I'm suffering here, guys. I'm not, I really, I'm suffering.
Have you tried doing the Mac Loop in 2D? That was tricky.
Yes.
I was like, I needed to sort of like angle the view up because I kept missing the points of reference, for the turns and stuff.
Yeah, it's just.
Although it does look spectacular. It looks spectacular
upside down
and 2D.
It does look better upside down.
The one thing we've done,
way better upside down.
so one thing we've done with the VR in this update as well is we've done this, you've seen it, Steve, but we've got the option now where you can have the EFB either on the ejection seat where it was before, or mounted sort of on the right-hand console.
How do you
VR users.
How do you move it there?
So if you click on the sort of bezel around the EFB tablet, you should have a little click spot there.
Oh yes, look at that. Oh wow. I didn't
And
know
now
that was
if you,
update. That's amazing.
Yeah, and if you click rear pilot, click on the control button, it now jumps you automatically to the rear seat or front seat, and it takes the EFB with you as well. So you can upgrade the EFB now to the private seat.
Can you hear this, guys? Literally, it hasn't even been out a week yet, and they've already implemented that. That is amazing. Fantastic.
For the benefits of all the forums and YouTube videos we have now means that we get feedback so quickly, and great feedback as well. I mean,
it's quite funny though, because without bragging, the aero, I was the only YouTuber that actually didn't find it a problem on the pilot seat because I can see it really well with the aero because of the sweet spot. So I didn't think it was a problem. And then I tried it in the Pimax and thought, oh my god, I really have to crane my neck to look at the tablet. And then I understood then because Drew Balgioed, his video, he mentioned it, and I thought, do you know what? I didn't even think twice about that being a problem, and then I understood afterwards.
Well, as an oversized gentleman and with a large chin, it is slightly inconvenient for the G2 sweet spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It started off on the EFB was on the right console in development, and then we kind of moved it to the ejection seat to kind of move it out of the way of any other controls. But of course, I develop 99.9% of the time in 2D. So of course, it's only when you jump in VR or have experienced VR users fly it that they point the stuff out. So it's why we try and get kind of a good range of testers on board. But there's always going to be stuff that we get feedback on post-release, but we can act on it pretty quickly. VR has always been one of those things where we sort of tend to tweak it after release.
In terms of the GPS, which I'm really annoyed that I didn't mention it in my preview. I didn't even realise it was so well coded. So apologies for that. But I was like afterwards. I thought, oh my goodness me, the GPS system is fully fledged.
Right? Yeah, I can't take credit for that. It's actually a default.
Is it really? Oh.
Yes, they've got they call it the Aero GPS. I think it's only in like one or two of the default aircraft. And a few people have asked why it's gone from the vertical to the horizontal position. And part of that's because in Sim Update 6 they sort of very handily changed that GPS orientation.
Right.
So you kind of did suit. But this is actually one of the configurations it has in the real aircraft. You can have it horizontally.
I think I prefer it this way. You've just got that slightly more
Yeah.
visibility, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was really in the way.
By the
Yeah,
way,
that's
guys,
another
I don't know
reason.
if we are like really, cracking on with this flight plan. So if anyone wants, if you fancy, we could land at Leeds Bradford very, if you want to, just so you can
Steve, I've
refuel.
got a suggestion. Steve, I have a suggestion. Do you think we could try and kind of line up and achieve some sort of formation? I've been trying to pull alongside people, and wow, I've got so much respect for these formation flyers.
It is hard.
You just get your throttle slightly up and then disappear into the distance. Do you think we could, a few of us could try and just line up and like hold some sort of formation?
We're just passing Leeds Bradford. So if people want to just have a, if they want to land quickly and maybe refuel, and some people, if you want to like use that area as a bit of a testing ground for formation flying, feel free. Maybe that might be a good idea.
What's your tail name? I'll look for you.
Spit 40.
Obviously, I want to keep an eye on time as well, but I think we're doing all right here. So I think we have a quick landing at Leeds Bradford, and then maybe.
I'm right out your stick. Show me the way.
Which one's Leeds Bradford? Is that EDNM?
Yes, Echo Golf November, Mike. Yeah.
Alright, okay, cheers, Steve.
I see it.
So luckily, I've still got a ton of fuel thanks to my drop tanks. It's,
Yeah, I was going to say I'm doing all right as well.
there you go.
Damn.
But I really feel the extra weight, which is brilliant.
It is noticeable. And if you look at the real-world manual, you'll notice that the RAF one, it mentions that when you have the sidewinders and pylons fitted, the approach speed is, I think, 5 to 10 knots greater. And it mentions that the controls are much more sluggish, and you've got to be very careful around the stalls. So you notice with these drop tanks, especially if you've got a full load of fuel, that if you come to a circuit, you've really got to keep on top of the speed. And if you're on the back of the drag curve, you'll start to really struggle. But I don't know if anyone's noticed, but you can actually jettison your weapon and drop tanks as well.
I noticed that yesterday.
Fantastic.
So if you do get
You did that on the fly when you're flying along?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you need to do a circuit and land again after taking off with drop tanks or anything, you can just jettison them before you land. It's probably a good idea. It's not too bad once they're empty, but when they've both got 100 gallons in each, it's quite a handful.
What's that? 100? Yeah, 100 gallons. Is that 1,000 pounds? 100 gallons?
I have to say I'm used to that kind of thing.
How much does a gallon of fuel? A gallon of fuel weighs 10 pounds, doesn't it? Does a gallon of petrol weigh 10 pounds? I don't know. I can't remember.
Depends on specific gravity and all sorts of horrible things. But
Well, I'm going to blame my terrible leap over the Black Ball Tower on the fact that you changed the physics. So, because it felt so much sluggish. It felt really sluggish. I thought last time I did a loop, I'm sure it felt more sprightly than that. So I'll have to make sure I take that consideration.
on the prime out as well, you'll notice you've got to have a much shallower angle of attack to keep your climb speed up. So yeah, it feels a bit more pedestrian.
I'm going to go for a bit of a landing here at Leeds Bradford in 2D mode, which is going to be painful. And if any of you guys want to have a quick 5 minutes trying to see if you can do some formation flying, I might see if I can get some video footage of it.
What's the identifier for that airport, Steve?
Yeah, Echo Golf November Mike.
Yeah, and I just got cleared for runway 32, so watch out.
Oh no,
Yeah, me as
Sven's
well.
about, look out.
Big enough.
Okay. I see it. Yeah, there's a bunch of us south.
I also
over
noticed, Martin, that you've included, obviously from the beta that I used, is the sort of the pilot straining under G, which I really love that. What a nice little touch.
Yeah, so we didn't have that in till very late, and I just just watching some videos, I thought that sort of be a nice feature. And also one of those little features that no one ever probably notices, but the oxygen consumption, as you can see by the oxygen flow indicator, actually increases with G load, so they'll breathe quicker with G force.
That's excellent. I love that. It's those little details that make everything.
I haven't seen much in the way of smoke, Steve.
Well, I've decided not to use too much because there's so many of us. I think it's tanking frame rate a little bit, so I'm going to keep mine off a little bit.
I love the rear view mirrors, the way they work.
Yeah, it's like they really, really work. Yeah.
Yeah, one feature they may be adding is the ability to turn around, so you can tilt them up and down and left and right. So that might be a feature that you have.
Oh, someone's in trouble, and that was a terrible landing. Terrible landing.
That's 2D for
I see
you.
the airport.
Honestly, I can't land in 2D anymore. It's just, it's really difficult. You just don't know where you are. It's just, never mind.
You can blame the tanks, it's okay.
Yeah, I will. I'll keep doing that.
Having recently gone from 2D to 3D, it's bloody amazing. In 3D, it's just so much easier.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Wow, this is great to see so many hawks there.
I think Willie just crashed, no?
I did. Just rolled over.
I missed that.
That was a place plant in a
I
building.
went too far, tried to correct, and I'm like, oh, I did not.
It's on
correct
video,
that right.
sorry.
Hey,
Are you live
I hate it
streaming,
when that
Sven, as
happens.
well, or?
Yeah, I'm streaming also.
Oh, sweet, brilliant.
Oh, the VR eyes, no, to the professional, like. Okay, full flaps, wheels down, I'm coming in.
Alright, I'm on final now.
I'm going to plug a couple of YouTubers that I've got massive respect for. First of all, Sven, you've got a new
I'm a
channel.
little guy.
Make sure you sub to his channel. I'll put these links in the description below after I've finished. And the VR Pilot, absolutely subscribe to his channel. I'm probably guessing most of you have anyway, because I think we're very close community anyway. But yeah, please do subscribe to him because, yeah, I love your content. I really do. Very different from a lot of YouTubers, very, very down to earth. And of course, 320 Sim Pilot as well, who's with us today. Absolute, yeah, honour to have you here. Right,
I just made a perfect landing. Haha.
Can we do this again soon?
Do it after this if you want. Do you know, that's one thing I can't stand, the sort of when you stop or the engine quits, the menu comes up and the
Yeah.
menu.
And they changed it to 2D, so you can look behind it.
Right, I'm going to get the drone out a little bit now, and I'm going to have a look at some of your guys.
Oh.
If anyone wants to do any formation flying, or...
Oh, you're floating in the air.
Yeah, I'm just using the drone now.
Alright, I'm doing a low approach.
Nice.
And then I'll be back.
Oh, there it is. I can see it. There we are. Right.
Hey,
Okay, I'll
what's the
open my
airspeed on the
canopy.
Hawk? What's your airspeed on the Hawk?
Ooh.
General.
Final approach?
And if I open my canopy, everybody's canopy open.
So
that's a sim issue.
I'm not
Hey,
sure
that's
what
a
the
question,
official
Martyn.
figures are, but I kind of like about 100 knots on there. Sort of
20, I
flare.
believe. The threshold.
That explains my horrendous landing then.
Especially with
Yeah,
drop
it's
tanks.
not 60, I can tell you that much.
But for landing, I think the manual says 135.
135, yeah,
Oh, it's
that's
much
some,
quicker than I realised.
I saw that.
Right, if anyone wants to do any shenanigans, I've got a perfect drone shot right here.
I'm gonna switch to 2D for a
yeah,
nice
do
quirky
something silly.
screenshot.
What's our next airport we're going to land at?
Well, after this, we'll probably head towards Lady Bower, which is a very famous reservoir that the Lancasters used to use to practice as part of their dam buster raids. I thought that would be quite a nice sort of...
It's biking country as well, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yes it is, yeah. You'll go over Snake Pass and yeah, it's beautiful. I was going to go today actually, but I just didn't have enough time. But yeah, I often go. Buzz around there on the bike. Love it. Oh wow, that was good.
Yeah.
Whoever just shot past my drone then, that was impressive.
Right,
And now
don't
the little
warn,
arrow
British pass.
and the little arrow key is gone in the top of the screen, so you can make nice screenshots.
Yes, finally.
I've noticed how the drone still doesn't stay sort of horizontal, you know, doesn't stay center, level rather, to the horizon, for me anyway, when I'm moving around.
Come on, Chris, what are you doing?
There it is.
Look at this. This is absolutely,
Epic.
what a scene. Amazing.
I've just crashed. What's the name of that airport again, Steve?
Leeds.
Bradford.
EG.
Echo Golf
November, Mike.
Yeah, sorry.
Echo Golf November.
Who is this
Mike.
guy in the airliner that he's thinking, what is going on here? I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's the F-22 guy.
I see.
Oh, all right, that makes sense. I thought it was.
That's the one. The only one I don't have. The
Can you
top
imagine
one I
that's-
do.
You got home from
That's
work,
why
you
it's
just want a
so
quiet
good.
flight in your airliner, and then a load of hawks just descend from everywhere. Look at this lot, brilliant.
Beautiful.
Martin, of interest, how did you get access to a real Hawk T1 when modelling this? What was the
Great
process?
question.
So yeah, this one was down at Boscombe Down, so it wasn't an in-service Hawk T1. But it depends. We do have quite a few contacts in the military, so people we've worked with for years, so they got us onto the Royal Squadron to see the 146 that the Queen used to use. We've seen TriStars, VC-10s, C-130s, C-17s all in service. So yeah, it's kind of who you know, as usual. Yeah, knowing people in forces.
Have you ever got to fly in one? Would it ever be possible?
If only, yeah, no. I'll wait for my invite if anyone knows anyone, but no, never had the luxury of that.
I've just got a couple of questions in chat. Feel free not to, you know, if you can't answer them, that's absolutely fine. There's no pressure. Keith has said in chat, is it possible for the Just Flight team to sort of, you know, kind of just say how popular it's been, the Hawk, in this week? Has it been a really good, you know, popular aircraft that people have purchased? Has it been a, you know, a very positive? Well, we know it's been a positive success.
Sales numbers. We need sales numbers.
But no, not say. I don't think that. No, as such. But you know, are you happy with how things are going in terms of Microsoft Flight Simulator sales and things? Everything going really well?
The Microsoft Flight Sim market is very good compared to P3D and X-Plane. It's definitely kind of the go-to sim at the moment in terms of sales performance for sure. But yeah, the Hawk's done very well. And the feedback, yeah, I think we couldn't ask for more really. I think it's been probably our best ever release, I think, in terms of feedback.
Yeah, better than any of the Pipers.
I mean, comparable. The difference with the Pipers being our first aircraft for Microsoft Flight Sim, the SDK was a bit less fleshed out at the time, and we were still learning how to use the sim. I think we've had 9 updates to our PA-28s, so we've had a lot of learning to do with Microsoft Flight Sim. Although we're very experienced with P3D, there's new ways of doing things, so we can achieve a lot more with Microsoft Flight Sim. So it's definitely been a learning curve. So I think that's allowed us, like day one, the Hawk was a better product than the PA-28. But after a mere 9 updates, I think the PA-28s are very, very solid too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been very lucky to fly in a Piper Arrow quite a number of times and land one, and I was quite taken back when I flew that for the first time in VR. I was like, I just feel like I'm back there. I could even almost smell the smells, that particular sort of classic, I guess, old bus smell they have. It all came back to me. Amazing.
The benefit of the PA-28s and aircraft in general is that they're based on aircraft from my actual flying club in real life. So that obviously gives me much better access, and it's sort of 10 minutes down the road, so that helps a lot. So the Warrior, the Arrow, the 152, Duchess, they're all aircraft from my flying club, and they are based exactly 100%. So yeah, you sit in the real thing, and it's every scratch and sticker is exactly like the real thing. Hence why it's so sort of worn and torn. That's sort of 30 years of abuse by student pilots.
Yeah, I much prefer that over a clean and clinical aircraft personally, but.
Yeah, that's one of those very sort of personal things, you got the wear and tear. So we did actually include an option for a clean cockpit as well. Not too clean. And you'll notice that the footwell of the PA-28's got kind of grass from the airfields scattered about the cockpit, just like the real thing. The lovely red velour seats, very tasteful, 70s. But yeah, no, it's exactly like the real thing, and that's a key part of what we do. Same with this Hawk, is we find a real aircraft and base 100% on that, and it just makes it more sort of unique. I think more believable.
The stock aircraft are way too clean.
They are.
Yeah, it doesn't appeal to us. We like dirty, worn and torn aircraft. That's our kind of personal taste in house. Hence why we like some of these sort of classic military jets and the things like the Vulcan as well, of course.
The Vulcan, yes. The Vulcan.
What's a hint there?
I'm not. I'm not going to ask if that's coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I hope at some point you're able to do that. But yeah, beautiful.
It's already in progress. we've done early work on quite a few things. So we've done early work on the Vulcan, the Tornado.
Oh, dear me.
Fantastic.
My word.
We can't fit through one line for these things, but I mean, really, ultimately, our plan has always been to bring as much of our past products into this from the in-house team as possible. So yeah, I would love to see the Tornado in here, the Vulcan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Everyone's
So,
very
yeah,
happy
yeah.
that you've said that. We're all like little kids again. Like, oh yes, please.
Yeah.
Love it.
You'll have to mention, and certainly like the GR1, this is sort of quite a natural home for it, I think, the sort of low level.
Honestly, I used to see them, over my house all the time, and it pains me now that I just don't see them anymore. I just miss them so much. They've got such a character that the more modern jets don't. But
I did the coding for the I did a fair bit of coding on the GR1, and a colleague did the F3, and what I came away from GR1 development thinking is it's so over-engineered, and it's a kind of a proper kind of mini little airliner with its own APU, so much redundancy. It's incredibly capable. I mean, like the Autopilot, it's it's kind of an airliner in a small package, really. So it's great fun.
Another guy in the chat's asked if the EFB could possibly be, used in X-Plane at some point in the Hawk. Although, do you have one? I'm not sure if you actually that's implemented.
There wouldn't be one in the Hawk and X-Plane, no. So different development teams. We have our Thrander team do the X-Plane one, and this EFB is very much kind of Microsoft Flight Sim specific. It uses technology from this sim.
You were the first people to put an EFB in an aircraft like this.
Yeah, it's I think probably because I'd come off doing the 146 for Prepared into doing the Arrow for Microsoft Flight Sim, and I put an EFB in the 146 because it's kind of expected of it now. So I suppose it's just in my mind. I was used to having that EFB there for options, and the other reason is. Whereas traditionally we used 2D panels in P3D for various functions, they aren't really an option in Microsoft Flight Sim. So I had to find a new way of giving you access to those options that would have been under a 2D panel, and I think an EFB is better anyway.
Honestly, I wondered whether we wouldn't see this for a long time, after the release of the sim, because, initial aircraft, general aviation aircraft, it just wasn't even a thing. So I was wondering how you guys were going to do it, but that's when obviously when the Piper came out, the first one, not the Arrow, what was the first one you did, the first Piper, when it had the EFB.
We did the Arrow 3,
yes,
and then the Turbo, and then the Warrior. Yeah.
I was just like, yes, they've managed to do it somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
we bought them all.
We didn't I didn't start seriously looking at development STK till earlier this year because I've been busy with 146, and by the time I came to the SDK earlier this year, it wasn't so bad, and they've done a lot more since then. And they're very responsive as Obo. They're a good team to work with.
They certainly keep you busy, don't they? I mean, I just can't believe the amount you're churning out. But not only that, the quality's still there. That's what I don't know how you do that. You must have. Do you have quite a big team at Just Flight working on this, or is it just?
We are quite lucky that we're one of the few developers, I think, that we're kind of a formal company. I don't know how to say it really, but we're full-time, employees. I think there's probably maybe 16 of us now, something like that. But also we work with many developers that aren't employees, but. So yeah, we working full time is a big difference compared to a lot of other developers who maybe do this in their spare time alongside their day job. So
do you enjoy it? You must love it. In many ways, it must be a dream job, but also extremely hard as well, and very frustrating at times.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. I love this job. I mean, I joined Just Flight when I was 18, so I was a Just Flight customer.
Oh wow!
And
really?
That's
incredible.
So you made your job.
Yeah, well, I'm now 33, so it's been a while. So, I didn't realise, I've been a customer for years. I didn't realise they were only 10 miles down the road from where I live. So when I was 18, and I was waiting to go to the RAF for selection to be a pilot, and I got summer work with them. And unfortunately, it turned out my eyesight was went to Cranwell for selection, and my eyesight was borderline. and of course they can be very fussy now. So the RAF didn't pan out. So I came back to Just Flight, and what's that now? 15 years later. I'm still here, so it must be good. But
their loss is our gain, without a doubt.
well, and I've got a great team here as well. I mean, my colleague Mark did the visuals on this. As you can see from the visuals, he's absolutely amazing at what he does. Yeah, we've got a great team at Just Flight. We're very lucky.
Yeah, there's something about the way you've done the textures on this. I can't quite put my finger on it, but when you look, especially from the outside view, it just feels so incredibly lifelike.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Whether it just feels, even from the Pipers, it just feels just that bit different. Like almost like it's been lifted out of the real life and put it in the sim. It's quite incredible.
Yeah. What Mark does a great job of, and it's quite a difficult skill, and you can see differences in this between different developers, but it's that kind of mastering, combining photographic reference material with artistry. So, some developers in the past, you can pretty much tell they'd lifted a real world photo and sort of stuck it on panel.
Yes,
and that doesn't always give results. And equally, sort of drawing it from scratch doesn't give you the best results. So trying to combine the two, hence why you'll see labels on this aircraft that are, for all intents and purposes, exactly from the photo. Every little tear and everything like that. But there's a lot of work that goes into kind of making that look right in the sim. But that's why when you find someone like Mark, you kind of hold on to him.
Too right.
Yeah, exactly. But he actually founded his own games company 20 or 30 years ago, back in the kind of early days, and he was involved in developing the original B-17 Flying Fortress game, and a couple of others that people might have flown here back in the 90s.
I did that.
And the original Tornado ground attack bomber game, I can't remember what it's called now. So he's very experienced and loves aviation, which is a big part of what we do, finding people with skills and the aviation passion.
Every time you say tornado, I get goosebumps.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We had some Italian GR4s came into RAF Coningsby about a week ago, so I had a ride down there, and just to see them take off and that rumble and that feeling you get in your stomach as they go full afterburner, it's just God, that's so beautiful.
You feel it in the chest.
The tornado at the moment is making sure that
Can you give us a heading? What's our next destination? Are we just cruising? I've lost sight of you. I see Sven though.
Yeah, we're heading to Lady Bower next, but the unfortunate thing is that's going to be tricky unless you have the flight plan.
I have the flight plan.
I'll take a vector.
Yeah. Hang on a second then. To be fair,
See the red Lear
airfield.
it's very close to if you head to Barton, like Echo Golf. Is it Charlie Bravo?
No Echo.
I was going to say, can you see the red not Learjet, the Citation? I'm just doing a circuit around the airport now. I've got the sim up, the plan up. If you want to follow me.
Whereabouts is everybody? I haven't seen anybody for about 15 minutes.
Do we have a heading from the airport?
We're hiding.
Yeah, you sort of
currently flying in a minute.
Yeah, you're just off south. You're heading sort of slightly off south. So what would that be? That would be
170 heading, 150.
Yeah,
most people are on about 170.
Yeah, about 170. Yeah.
My plan has gone for some reason, but I'm basically heading to Manchester. So if you head to Manchester Airport, you're going to be quite close by.
I see Sven. Sven, are you going the right way?
Yeah, I'm loading my GTN now.
Okay, sweet. All right, you know what? That's right. What's the direct to? Give me the identifier if you can.
Echo Golf Charlie Charlie. Is that Manchester?
That is, that's it. Yeah. I mean, you can head there, and then you can follow me to Lady Barrack. It's not too far away from there.
Perfect.
That might be the easiest way to do it.
So next one is Lincoln Cathedral?
No, Lady Barra. It's a very famous reservoir.
Yeah, but it doesn't show. It just shows custom.
It does, yeah. It just says custom, yeah.
I think we have to fly that at 60 feet altitude, don't we?
Yes, with some lights lining them up. Amazing.
Martin, is the sound for the G-strain maneuver from an actual pilot?
That's a
good question. That is a good question. I wouldn't know without asking our sound artist, but based on what it sounds like, I strongly suspect he's based on a real recording. Unless he's sitting there in his office trying to strain himself.
I had this vision of him trying to do it with a microphone,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Maybe, I don't know.
When I first heard it, I thought it was someone sneezing.
Sneezing, yeah. It's I suspect it's from a real recording. I'd have to check with him, but yeah, I can't imagine he sat there and tried to recreate it himself.
It's pretty cool though.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, part of me wasn't sure about putting it in. It seemed like the kind of thing that might annoy some people, but it only comes on like quite high G levels, so.
I think it's well balanced. It's a nice little feature.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
too repetitive. There's a few different levels of it. I've noticed. It's almost like dynamic. If you pull more G, it's
the benefit
different.
of the sound system, Microsoft Flight Sim, is you can affect the volume and intensity of something based on variables like the G-force or speed. So it's a lot more powerful. Hence why a lot of people are commenting on how much better the sounds are in this versus P3D, and that's because this new sound system in Microsoft Flight Sim is just so much more powerful. You can do things that we can never achieve in P3D. Although,
I didn't realise that.
for the 1.6,
I'm above the reservoir, I think. Yep.
Yeah, is
Isn't,
anyone lost? If
Flight
anyone's
Sim-
lost, actually, a better place would be Echo Golf Hotel Victor as a sort of like holding pattern. If anyone's lost, go there. And then
Totally lost.
Yeah, if you go to Echo Golf Hotel Victor, if you put it as a direct 2 on the GPS, I can pick you up and follow you, and I can lead you into the reservoir. It's not too far away from there. That might be an easy
Can we
option.
type with the keyboard on this GPS? Or no?
Yeah,
Yes, you can,
yeah,
normally.
can. If you go to the top button, and then there's a direct
Oh, I
2.
see it.
Click direct
Echo Golf
2.
Hotel
Yeah,
Camp
Echo
Hill
Golf
Airfield.
Hotel Victor.
Victor.
And that's quite close by. And what I'll do is I'll circle that with the smoke on, and then hopefully if you can see me, I'll lead you in.
Also,
Yeah.
have any of you heard the sonic boom of braking Mac from the external view? That was a nice touch.
Oh, is that included in this, is it?
Yeah, I find if you go to external view, dive, brake Mac, then you hear a sonic boom.
Oh, wow. You see, this is the thing, you can have this aircraft for ages and still learn things about it. Brilliant. I didn't know that. Nice touch.
Yeah, we'll continue making tweaks. Like I've got a Hawk book here that I'm reading at the moment, and it said that at about sort of Mach 0.88, I think, and above, you start to get quite strong buffeting. So we're probably going to increase that effect as well. So yeah, trying to get as much kind of reference as we can. But yeah, as usual, we'll continue tweaking.
I don't know whether
Yeah,
this
I
is
have
something
this-
intentional or not, Martin, but I noticed the other day when it was raining, which it always does in the UK, as you know, taking off, the rain effect was very realistic. You could really see it like over the canopy, kind of like, in streaks. And I don't often see it as done as well as that in other aircraft. Was that just the physics of the canopy, or was that something you'd thought about before?
Yeah, possibly the shape of the canopy, but luckily the sim itself provides very good effects for that kind of thing now.
Yeah.
So we've made sure to implement them, fully and properly, which I don't know if other aircraft have done that or not, but yeah, that's nothing particularly custom other than the way we've applied the technique that they give us. But things like that and icing visually are much better than P3D, obviously, although the icing's a bit overdone. But
Yes.
No.
Just to say,
And
guys,
it-
I'm now at Echo Golf Hotel Victor. I can stay here and circle for a bit until we're all back together again, if that
Yeah.
helps. 'Cause
Is the Hawk also coming to the official marketplace inside the sim for the other people?
hopefully, yeah, I mean, it's again, the plan is, all of our products will end up in the marketplace at some point. It's a combination of making sure it's updated and we're happy with it before sending it to Microsoft, and then their approval process, which
So it hasn't been sent to Microsoft yet without the weapons.
Yeah, it won't have the weapons on it.
no, unfortunately, no weapons, no gun sight on this, which is a shame. But,
It's strange, isn't it? That's a strange sort of thing.
yeah, I don't know. how they're going to do, the Top Gun DLC seems like a strange choice because you can't do weapons, but I guess
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I thought.
No Maverick Goose stuff.
yeah.
The community will take care of that.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Option of buying it direct if you really want weapons.
Phil, are you within range now? Are you still lost?
Where's
Within range,
Echo
Fox 2.
Hotel Victor compared to Manchester Airport?
It's a bit ways off really. I thought Echo Golf Hotel Victor's a better because we were right close to Lady Bower from there.
Right. Off your left-hand side, Steve. Now, so.
You even sound far away in the chat. You sound really far away.
Oh my God.
I'm just passing Edinburgh now. I'm feeling a bit dizzy going in circles.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
spotting
following
at
the
the
front,
ground.
but I'll go back down because I'm way in front now.
Are we all about here?
I'm looking off my left at the ground, waiting for a tank to roll out,
Old
so I can
school
just.
with these things. I don't know how to do the GPS. I always just do stuff with VORs and old school stuff. So, but I am looking at the VFR map.
Yeah,
And
if you look.
trying to find Echo Golf Hotel Victor.
Yeah,
and I'm over Manchester Airport.
Okay, if Echo Golf Charlie, obviously Manchester, if you go kind of like straight right from there, so if you just kind of like get your cursor and go east, and then you head, and then you'll be able to just see Echo Golf Hotel Victor. And actually, it's almost if you keep
090 heading.
Yeah.
You got it.
Fly heading 090, and I'll go pick you up, Phil.
I'm at Redford.
For everybody else, if we just carry on to Lady Bower now, if you want, because I'm obviously aware of time as well. I don't want to be too long with this flight. We've still got to get to Lincoln Cathedral yet. And just want to say again, thank you to Martyn for, he's a busy man, this guy. He's a properly busy man. So to be able to come and join us for this, it's
thanks,
really,
Martyn.
we do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Put my 6-month-old daughter to bed before the stream, so.
Oh,
What's me?
extra ice cream then in the morning.
Well, she had too much ice cream before bed, which was very naughty.
Oh, did she?
Jesus.
It's all part of the weaning, apparently.
Guys, I've just flight all of 39s to test the planes.
Yeah, I'll count me in.
Hey, Phil, are you spit 40?
5900 out.
It's me.
Alright, perfect. You're heading the right way. I'm right beneath you down here.
Right, guys, I'm going
I'm
to leave
climbing.
it to Lady Bower now. If you're behind me, I think you are. Yeah, you are. Look at this. What a sight that is. Fantastic. We're kind of going the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. I'll tell you what, we'll do 2 passes, and by the time we come back, hopefully Phil will be on his way with the Jose.
Yeah. So I'm flying back to you guys.
Phil, 10 o'clock low. You see me down there?
10 o'clock. I think I see Lady Bower, that's one thing. 10 o'clock.
I'm like really low. You're at 16 grand. Push the nose over.
Whoa, way down. Okay. Which way are you
11.
headed?
I'm currently heading 090, and I'm turning north.
Okay.
I wonder if this is what the Red Hours sound like when they start doing their training.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I'm over here. Yeah, alright. By the time they've finished, they're absolutely amazing.
Also, I'm bingo fuel. I'll see you back at the base.
Roger that.
All right.
Well, we're about to go over the dam now. I think, is this... Yeah, actually, if anyone's got the Orbex points of interest, you'll have this dam. that I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
damn,
right
that's
now.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, which is... They've done a really good job of that. I think some people have moaned about it, but, come on. I think it's decent. And, it doesn't... You don't have people on it or anything, but it's a landmark. It does its job.
Yeah, I see it now. Looks.
In fact, actually, looking, I've just said that, but I think some Simdate 6 has made it a little bit, it's not quite in the right place. Never mind. I'm sure they'll sort that out. I'm just going to go back and go overfly it again, and then we'll head back onto our route, because we're not too far away now from RAF Waddington. And then it'll be Lincoln Cathedral, very iconic Lincolnshire landmark, and then into RAF Scampton, which is where the RAF, the Red Arrows, are currently based, but not for much longer, unfortunately. Oh, do you know, the way this thing flies, it feels very fluid to me. And actually, Martyn, can you explain how you've done that? if you even can. Because
That's a good answer.
It's just because it's just code, isn't it? But especially with the way
He
the
can't
Microsoft
give away
Flight
his
Simulator.
secret.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not blade element theory like it is in X-Plane. So there obviously is a table, a lookup table, but it doesn't feel like a lookup table. It feels fluid in the air, and that's.
I think we've got a guy that does our flight dynamics, Paul, who I've worked with for about 10 years. I think he's aged quite badly, I think, as a result of this project. You know, on the coding side and visual side, we're much happier working with Microsoft Flight Sim. But I think for the flight dynamics side, I think he's had the worst luck, I think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of work's gone into it, a lot of fiddling and tweaking and speaking to the guys at Zobo, and it's definitely something, the one area of the sim that kind of really needs finessing, but I think the end result's really good. But it's been a lot of work to get there. All credit to Paul on that one.
And that is it, because, you know, I mean, it might sound controversial, but I do actually prefer X-Plane for its flight modelling. I really do. I think it's better for it. But when I compare your Piper Arrows and the Hawk, actually, no, that's a better example, actually, the Hawk, which I do have the X-Plane version of this aircraft, this flies better in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I don't know how that's possible, where the X-Plane flight model just has that more fidelity. So, yeah, really good stuff there.
Yeah, like the blade element theory in X-Plane, like everything, has its sort of strengths and weaknesses, really, as to both of the different sims. So, yeah, I think you can achieve good results in both. It's just, it can be quite a lot of work. But yeah, you tend to find certain areas of flight performance maybe are better at X-Plane, like low-speed flight, high-speed flight, Microsoft Flight Sim. It's you've got to kind of do the best you can with each sim that you work with, and yeah, we've done a great job on this.
Absolutely.
Martyn, one thing I'm curious about is how do you kind of determine the difference between what you experience and what it should really be like, and then say, right, how do we deal with that delta?
So it's a combination, all works in a combination really of the hard facts and figures and performance information from the manuals. The aircraft like the Hawk, the RAF aircraft, tend to have quite good handling notes for the pilots, so you get an idea of kind of how it should feel. But obviously that's all kind of text as opposed to real world experience. So then that's when the real world pilots get involved.
Right.
It's once we're happy that
they give you the feedback.
Yeah, so once you've got it kind of working by the book in theory, by the figures, then you pass it to them and you sort of tweak accordingly. So like the trim that someone was talking about earlier has been changed sort of many times based on that feedback. But flight dynamics are one of those things where you'll improve one area and it will throw out another area slightly, so it's always a bit of a trade-off. But yeah, no, it's difficult. I mean, when we did the GA,
imagine that bit must be worse when you're trying to build on top. I mean, if you're doing it just from the initial raw build and you kind of design it the way you think it should be, and then it isn't quite the way it should be, then I can imagine, like you say, you press one thing and then something else pops out. That must be when it becomes a real headache.
Yeah, I think that's why Paul's probably got one of the harder jobs in the team. I think that's why it's kind of more stressful, because it's someone will come up with a great suggestion for changing that part of it and it will break the other part. You know, it's definitely one of the hard parts. And obviously once we released it, you tend to get a lot of feedback from the community on that. Not always accurate, because the other thing, of course, is people's expectations of how something should fly, which isn't always how it does fly. So it's trying to balance that as well.
Very subjective, isn't it?
Very, yeah. It's right, have someone that sort of thinks an aircraft should be heavy and it isn't according to real pilots.
Yeah.
So yes, a challenge. So yeah, it's kind of got to use a bit of judgment on it, really.
I've got so many questions in chat. I feel sorry for us. I'm not going to ask too many more. But someone asked actually. In fact, Derek asked, "Are the Just Flight aircraft built using 3D scans or blueprints, or another way?"
No. No, we don't do anything like that. No.
I've absolutely no idea how you do it. It's like magic to me. It's like
magic to me as well. Sort of, yeah, very much Mark's remit. But no, it's we don't have any kind of 3D scan technology. We take a huge amount of pictures. Obviously, have the real world manuals and diagrams to work from. But part of it is kind of an artistic eye as well, for shape and size and everything else. So yeah, kind of magic.
I don't know who's in formation with you right now, but you're doing a great job. Nice one. In fact, you're all
I'm above you. I'm gonna come closer.
I see you, Sven. I see you. Looking very nice with your missiles aboard there.
You see my missiles?
Yeah, don't shoot me down.
No.
Be nice now.
Okay, I'll turn the missile lock off. See, I don't find your dead wash.
Slate Flight has asked,
me then.
will Just Flight be hosting the Flight Simulator show at Cosford next year? So I guess will you be intending on going there next year to Cosford?
So we actually host the show. That's our show.
Right, even
And,
better. Didn't realise I've ever
I really hope so. Yeah, so it's will be the second year I think this year we haven't done it because of COVID. But yeah, no, I really hope so. Certainly the plan at the moment, pending any kind of other pandemics or global disasters. So yeah, fingers crossed. That'll be next October now.
I'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
definitely.
Be going, definitely. I've never been to one before, but I'll definitely be going this
Right.
year. Next year.
We started, I'm trying to think how long it's been going now, probably 7 or 8 years. Yeah, it's great. Sort of one of the only plans that you get to do face-to-face with people. And we tend to have quite a few of our development team there to chat to people and show you the latest stuff that we're working on. Hopefully, you'll be looking at tornadoes and Vulcan and whatever else by then.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
But yeah, fingers crossed, yeah, definitely.
How's everybody doing, by the way, in terms of flight plan? We're heading to, in fact, I'm not heading now, should be.
We're too much on the right. Yeah.
Echo Golf X-Ray Whiskey, which is RAF Waddington. We're going to do a bit of a buzz over there, wake up the local residents, and then we're heading to Lincoln Cathedral, and then which is really close by, and then it's our last stop at RAF Scampton.
Could I be seeing a power station?
Yeah, don't fly into that.
I can see 2 hawks. Oh no, I see more hawks.
Well, York Cathedral.
That's a bit further north, actually.
Anybody have a heading to the airport?
I'm heading 070 at the moment. But that might not be helpful, I don't know. But maybe, let's say the GPS is a really great feature. If you just click direct to, then it will be Echo Golf X-Ray Whiskey.
I'm showing 106 degrees heading.
I'm on about 1.
I'm going direct now.
Even had a flight at me.
To be fair though, probably haven't synced my... No, that's... Yeah,
Are we gonna land there?
The only thing I don't like about the Just Flight Hawk is the fact that I don't want to fly anything else now.
Yeah,
set the bar very high for the others.
Every time because you know, I like to fly even without all the YouTubey thing, just for myself. And every time, you know, recently I'm thinking, what do I want to fly? It's the Hawk. It's got to be. And it's just like, it's so difficult not to fly this thing. There's something about the way you've made it and created it. It feels alive.
So good fun.
It is.
So smooth.
Have you seen this done before? Interviewing the developer while Formation flying their aircraft.
Yeah, it's a world first. Awesome. I think it is.
It's awesome. It's so much more immersive, isn't it? You can really relate to. It's a much better interview.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think that way you get to fly the aircraft and learn more about it from the man himself. You know, whilst we're enjoying it. So yeah. Should do this more often.
Got a thing here. You've got to keep this going.
Just no bug. No bug report.
Right, I'm going in for a low pass here.
Sometimes it's so nice to go, take it easy and slowly with a Piper Arrow.
Yeah, a bit of a difference.
Oh yeah, no, the Piper Arrow series. If I want to, for the Piper Arrow series, for me, if I want to really recreate a real flight, I'll use the Piper Arrows in VR, and instantly I'm reminded of how it feels again in real life. It's more of a real world experience for me. Right.
I found it very useful for practicing things like my qualifying cross country for real flying. Combination of sort of photographic textures and realistic aircraft was really, really useful. Yeah, great training aid.
Yeah, actually, Martin, if you don't, how did you even go about the skills to be able to code this kind of thing? Was it born out of a desire, just as an enthusiast, like you say you was 18 when you joined? Was it something that you just loved, you know, it was something that as a hobby and it ended up becoming a profession and a career?
Yeah, so flight simulation was a hobby from child right through to teenager, because my dad was in the RAF and loved all the aviation. So that's where flight simulation came from. And then coding, I did coding at sixth form at UK version of college, and I did a degree in my spare time in computing. So I kind of got the formal side of it that way, and then to combine the two at work. But yeah, just sort of sitting down, studying the SDK. It's obviously a big part of it is understanding aircraft systems and how aircraft work. So it's a combination of skills, really.
You sound so humble when you say it all. To me, it's all just, I don't know, magic, to be honest. Because to me, I don't understand how something, it's just code, it's just numbers, it's just, you know, a computer language.
It's all logic. Yeah, it's all logic. If this does it, then do that, and if it doesn't, then do this. And that's largely extended. That on the grand scale is how it all works. It's very satisfying when it come together. Actually, it's seeing aircraft come to life is very enjoyable, and sitting down with the manual and learning new aircraft is what I really enjoy. There's a lot of things to do, I think. Sitting down with the manual and understanding the quirks of each aircraft, how to operate it. So, you know, I'm doing that, combining it with making it work like that. So yeah, I think that's a big part of what makes a good aircraft is the developer having a genuine passion for what they do.
That makes sense. It's not just about the flight, it's not just about the textures and making it look good. It's about knowing all those little idiosyncrasies of the aircraft that you might not, the average person might not know, and putting them into it. And maybe that's the key to make it feel alive.
Yeah, I mean, some of the little features you mentioned earlier, like the kind of breathing rate, things like that. It's sort of useful to be an enthusiastic simmer myself, because I hopefully know what other people might look for and what they might not look for, what's going to be a waste of time, what's worth doing. And that definitely helps, I think. Hopefully what people will like. And obviously all the feedback you guys give us directly soon tells me if I'm right or wrong.
Yes, of course.
And lots of, a lot of the ideas, a lot of things that are in this update that's coming along soon are, ideas that people give me on forums and YouTube videos that I've just gone, sounds like a great idea, so I'll put that in there. It's very good.
Yeah, it's great how you're always open to, criticism, I guess, even as well, and sort of, open to the idea of adding new things, which is
constructive. I really don't mind. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if someone with their aircraft is terrible, then I might get a bit upset. But if someone,
to be honest, Martyn, I really no, it's not going to happen. Absolutely not. Not with your ethos, anyway.
No, nothing's perfect, and people always have ideas you haven't thought of. Pick up on things you haven't spotted. I mean, you think how complex these aircraft are.
Yes.
Testing is very challenging because there's so many different ways of operating an aircraft. If someone does something in a slightly different way to what you would expect them to do it in, it might not work as it should do.
Touchdown.
Very challenging.
What was your biggest challenge with this aircraft, would you say?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, what thing are you most proud of with it, say, for instance? I mean, is there anything that stands out to you where you go, oh, I nailed that bit of the system, or...
Yes, it's going to come back to me in a few seconds. I'm trying to think of that, really.
Hey, you got him there.
And what aircraft are the Red Arrows going to when this plane goes out of service at the end of this?
It's that
this
weird
decade, isn't it?
thing, isn't it? What's it called?
So you're talking about modular Oralis, or it's a kind of modular aircraft design, isn't it, where you can sort of change it. He's actually, I met Tim Davis last year before, at our Cosby show a couple of years ago, and he actually works for that company now that's coming up with that aircraft design.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Pretty sure that's public information. I'm just, I'm sure it's him. But yeah, no, he's working for them now. But yeah, in terms of what I'm proud of, it's stands out sort of a particular system on this particular aircraft. On the 146, I think the sort of thrust modulation system, kind of rudimentary sort of auto throttle, took a bit of work. That was quite interesting to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of people don't. Sorry, go on.
So the TACAM's quite interesting on this. So you have to kind of come up with a way of sort of converting the kind of 33x into sort of frequency that flight sim understands. Because obviously it's not perfectly designed for TACAMs.
Yeah, so there's some rudimentary functionality with the TACAM now. Is that right? Does it detect a radial, but not the distance?
So yeah, it's basically there for a military version of VOR. So in real life, it would give you a bearing and a distance, just like a VOR PME. But the limitation at the moment for flight is if something is considered a TACAM in sim, you'll only get distance, you won't get bearing. So in this aircraft, you can tune a TACAM or VOR DME, but TACAM you'll only get the distance. You have to tune you can tune a VOR DME into the TACAM radio and use it for convention in that way. So hopefully they'll fix that. It doesn't sound like a particularly complex thing to fix. I think it's just a navigation data issue. But yeah, other than that, from a pilot point of view, very much VOR DME style. And you'll see on the HSI, I don't know if anyone if you used it, but the green arrow gives you your bearing to the current tune.
I've been using it actually for this flight.
Yeah, that's quite useful. Obviously, you can use that in conjunction with
Awesome. Honestly, it's absolutely so interesting. I'm gonna listen to this back. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna listen to this back just because it's so interesting to hear from the developer. You know, you don't get this kind of information every day. So yeah, thank you so much, Martyn, for letting us know a little bit what goes on, really.
Yeah. One of the challenges, I guess, of military aircraft for flight sim is trying to work out how to implement military-centric sort of systems in civilian sim. So, like, you know, how to implement a UHF radio when it doesn't have UHF.
Yes, exactly.
So that's kind of one thing you have to give thought to. So, like here in this, the UHF radio acts as COM2 and uses sort of VHF frequencies. So that takes a bit of sort of thought. And I suppose one system that is quite quirky on this, obviously got the gas turbine starter, which people probably aren't used to, like an APU that only provides sort of bleed air for engine start, doesn't provide any electrical power. And the hydraulic system, where you start with hydraulic system 1 pressurized, and then you bring hydraulic system 2 online. So that's quite an interesting little quirk, I think.
Yeah, because on the X-Plane version, I think we had to manage the hydraulic 1 and hydraulic 2. Oh, someone's just crashed. Whoops.
Yeah, big.
You used to have to press the buttons, didn't you?
That was a big crash.
But now it seems hydraulic 1 goes online on its own, and then you just have to basically reset hydraulic 2. I thought that was interesting because that's different from the X-Plane version.
Okay.
What a place to have an itchy back.
Sort of pressurizes 1, and then you reset. There's a valve which closes that you reopen with the reset button. It allows pressure into hydraulic 2. But yeah, you'll notice that if you rapidly move your flight controls, you'll see both hydraulic systems depleting pressure.
Do you know, again, something else I've now just learned about this aircraft. Love it. Yes, I've just noticed that. That's brilliant, yeah.
One of the real-world flight tests, if you go into sort of level cruise and bring your throttle right back and wiggle your controls very enthusiastically, you can actually get the ram air turbine to pop out in flight.
Oh, I'm gonna have to definitely try that at some point.
Yeah. Because the pump isn't sort of operating at full flow, and you can so that's how they test the ram air turbine in real life without obviously needing to turn the engine off.
It's interesting to have that limitation in the real aircraft, considering it's an aerobatic. You know, they've used it for the red arrows. Do you think there'd be, that pressure?
You're at quite high thrust power setting for those sort of manoeuvres, and you don't tend to waggle it that enthusiastically. But and the other quirk that some people might notice is when you shut down the aircraft, the ram air turbine will pop out very briefly.
I did notice that. Yes,
I noticed that. Like I did something wrong.
I thought I did.
That's just like real aircraft. So that's when the hydraulic system 2 pressure is depleting, the ram air turbine will pop out as it's getting low, but then once the pressure reaches zero, it will spring itself back in again.
Oh, that's good to know. Interesting.
Yeah, next
Yeah,
time
so-
I'm at an air show, I'm looking out for that because I've never noticed that before. And in some air shows, you can get real up close.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If you're in the cockpit, you hear the clunk thing that's going up and down. I was like, what's happening?
Yes.
And then go to the external view and see that little robot come up and down.
Robot. It does look like one robot.
It's like R2-D2, he's in the back.
Yeah.
The amount of pressure at the ram air turbine will also vary depending on your airspeed. So if you're at, say, 120 knots, you might find the ram air turbine isn't spinning fast enough to build up the pressure as quickly as you're depleting it. But above, I think about 170 knots, it'll develop full pressure. So that's all simulated.
Martin, I have a question on the speed brake.
Yep.
Can it be deployed pretty much any time, like a standard speed brake, even on the ground?
So the only way to deploy it on the ground is if there's an air brake test switch on the right-hand console. And if you move that forward, then you can
But it
deploy
doesn't work if it's already mapped to a controller.
If the air brake is.
Yeah. The test doesn't work if it's mapped to my lever on my honeycomb. If I detach it, unbind it, then it works. But if it's bind it, it doesn't do it.
Works on my HOTAS.
Yeah, it works for me, Sven, on mine.
Yeah.
Not on mine.
Look at that. But,
You're
yeah,
using
so
the wrong sort of joystick in that aircraft.
Nice one, ready. I've just got a nice pass there of you. Oh, look at that. 3-point hesitant roll there. Nice one. I've just got my drone looking at all your guys landing here.
Yes.
Works on mine too.
Ah.
Hey, Steve,
I have it for all my plane. The lever is a speed brake and it works perfectly. Also on this plane, but then the test doesn't work.
Martin, that was close.
Yeah, the sounds are just amazing of these planes coming by. It's like in real life.
It is actually, yeah. For the first
How do you
time, because
do
I was
that?
now I can hear the sound of the aircraft. You know, obviously the Hawk as a flyby because you didn't have that option in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and hearing it going from one side to the other sounds really nice, and that's probably something that it's probably not even. It's a shame we don't have a flyby view, but it really shows the sound set off. I think from the external view.
Oh, planning on adding one, aren't they?
Are they? That would be nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be really
So
nice.
they're adding that option.
Should we have a bit of a group photo then, guys, before we wrap this up? Because I don't want to keep Martin any longer, because we've already been a bit too. We've been longer than specified. So I just want to quickly say
4K
massive
screenshotting a lot.
Yeah, do it. But thank you for everybody, both on YouTube for viewing this, and also specifically for everybody here, and of course Martin for just giving us all that inside information and just being here. It's been, I think, a wonderful way of getting to know the aircraft from the developer's point of view. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. It's been good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Organising it, Steve.
Yeah,
really interesting.
And congrats the entire team, because the plane is just magnificent. It really is.
Yeah, thanks. It's after kind of 6 months of looking at one aircraft, you always tend to kind of want to look at something new. But yeah, it's enjoyable. On to the 146 now for me. That'll be my next coding project. And,
nice.
Let us know if you got any questions. A friend of mine was like captain on that with Flyby for about 15 years.
yeah, no, I mean, by all means, ping me a message on here. Yeah, it's an aircraft type I really enjoy coding. The 146 is often not as exciting as the Hawk, but it's a very quirky airline to operate and quite a lot of sort of pilot input required, so it's a bit less boring than your regular Airbus, I think. As usual, sort of British aircraft tend to be quite interesting to operate, I think.
Is that the model that you did for the X-Plane recently?
Yeah, I went into P3D and X-Plane, and then it's been going through all sorts of visual upgrades, bring it to Microsoft Flight Sim. So yeah, now I'll be jumping on systems coding for that, and hopefully we'll follow that up with the RJ variant, which is slightly more modernised.
How are sales now on like P3D and X-Plane versus Microsoft? I mean, this seems to have like really, it's a huge leap forward in visuals, and I know systems and stuff are slightly different, but I mean, I'm assuming that this outsells the others now, does it? Or
It's difficult to tell because we don't have a like-for-like products. It's we released a Hawk 4X plane maybe 3 years ago and 5 years ago for P3D. So you can never quite get that kind of like-for-like figures, but certainly Microsoft Flight Sim is outselling those other two platforms for sure. There's a lot more excitement around it.
Yeah.
So we're quite interested to see X-Plane 12 because although I love this platform, I would always like to have more and more platforms to work on. P3D, yeah, again, we've not really released a great deal for it recently, but it's definitely been impacted by people moving to this, I think.
But it's not that you see a lot of customers come over to the Microsoft platform. You must see these movements, no?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will fly multiple sims. So I think there's always a tendency on social media, especially, to kind of, sim battles, kind of pick one or the other, sort of situation. But in reality, I think most people, most of you guys probably have multiple sims installed.
Yeah. I've got 3 Hawks. 3 Hawks.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So you might fly VFR in this, and then you might jump back to doing an airline like the Zevo 737 in X-Plane. So they've all got their strengths and weaknesses. I know I fly multiple sims, so I think for the foreseeable, people will be using multiple.
Still swaying more. I find myself, though, every time I go into the other ones, I'm like, I look at it and go, God, this looks like it's from last century, in terms of graphically and stuff, doesn't it? It's
it's a challenge, and I think the key turning point will be when we get our 146 in there and PMDG bring their 737, and people see that although there are some limitations, it's possible to have complex airliners in Microsoft Flight Sim. Maybe that'll bring some extra people across. But personally, I do like having multiple platforms. I like the X-Plane community, and I hope X-Plane 12 does well. So, yeah, I certainly have no wish to see why customers.
Yeah, it's good for the industry. It's good for competition. We must, I think, if we can, support all sims as much as we possibly can. And I do feel, I am a massive fan of X-Plane, and even though I was a bit underwhelmed by X-Plane 12's presentation, I do feel. Hopefully they'll come through, But can I just say, everybody on YouTube, I'm now going to end the stream on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for everybody who's just come and watched or even flown. I'm sure everyone here who's been flying is probably on the live stream as well. But we'll do this again very soon. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Yeah. Thank you for hosting. Nice.